Fast as lightning, twice as frightening. Headed on to Houston in the middle of the night. Hear the bus, I rub my red eyes, praying I can catch my flight.
Welcome to Fast, Hard, Finish. I'm your host, Bo McBigtime. I'm, of course, joined by the one and only Fats Patrick, Scott Simpson. That's self-anointed, by the way. And then, of course, we had to bring back the star of last week's show, Mike Collins. Give it up for Mike.
What's up?
So this show is about nothing and everything at the same time. It's a fast, hard finish to Kickoff Sunday, which on the East Coast is not very long away. We're going to cross over the threshold into Kickoff Sunday. Some of you, like me, are going to stay up and not sleep a wink because you're so fucking jacked. How about you, Mike? You feeling jacked?
I'm jacked. I have a question right off the top. Okay, I'm on the verge of going 2-5 in my home league.
That's the one Scott's leading, isn't it? We can't have him win. If I go into your league next year, I do not want to kiss the fucking ring year one of Mr. Trophy Lad. I'm sure he's gonna have a big ass trophy for his win, even if there isn't one already. He's gonna make one.
He has a strong team for sure. He's definitely a lock to make the playoffs. I, on the other hand, am fighting for my life.
You need help.
I think this, is one of the best teams that I'm playing this week, and he's the former champion.
So you need upside this week. Upside is.
So I have one flex position that's open because I lost Michael Thomas again.
Hey.
All right.
You never didn't lose him, to be honest.
You never had him, right?
One after the other thing where he's just gonna diva out and just check at the door. It's like, hey, am I still gonna check? All right, good. I'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll talk about it again.
I like my team. I like my chances. If I'd have had Michael Thomas, I would not be stressed.
That's your first round pick.
So here are my options. Okay, I need one of these four players.
Let's go PPR, right?
Yeah,
PPR. Traquan Smith, who I picked up.
I like him.
I got him. I have.
I don't love him, but I like him.
You're not going to love anybody here.
Okay.
Traquan Smith, Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, or Christian Kirk.
This week, you need a win, right? You need the upside.
Or Damian Harris, but I don't want to play him.
Fuck no, that's not this week. This is not the week to take the roulette up to your temple with the Patriots running back.
With Damian this week.
No.
So
watch who go off.
Who you like? Traquan Smith, Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, Christian Kirk. Need one.
So I like Keelan Cole for floor, but you're looking for a ceiling pick to knock off that former champion. So I'm going to go with Christian Kirk. And he doesn't have as plush of a matchup as people think on the surface, but he's red hot right now, and he's a good receiver when he's healthy. Like he's every game he's finished, he's looked really good, and so I think Christian Kirk has a higher ceiling than all the other guys, and so I'll take him this week.
Yeah, the chat. I'm just going to represent the chat. Bethany Peters, who is a friend of myself.
Bethany, you're the best. Love you.
And Carter as well. She was in my Scott Fishbowl 9 last year. She's advocating, for Kirk versus Seattle, given those matchups. We talked about it on my show with earlier today with Mike Reedy, and then I talked about it yesterday with Bo. The Seattle Seahawks are a sieve. Like literally, they average 23
as a unit.
12, as a total, they give up 52 fantasy points a game to wide receivers on the opposing teams. That's the worst.
Which is amazing because they're pretty tough on the running back and tight end.
Right.
And quarterback is kind of middling, isn't it? They just give up to wide receivers.
Give it up to the wide receivers. Yeah. So, I mean, I think this game is going to be a shoot. I hope it does. A lot of these games with divisional opponents.
I'm not with you on that one. I'm hoping it's lower. I called the under on all three of the top totals this week.
Well, I just want games to go wild, buck wild. You know what I mean? That's all I want. Every game I want to be 42-45, and that's what I want. I want
those are the games that the fans want. They want points.
Recovery. One of my favorite games ever was in the 80s, and it was a Houston Oilers versus the Cleveland Browns, and the Oilers were losing, and they came back and they scored a touchdown, and they needed the onside kick in the snow.
Nailed it.
The onside kick. It was incredible. They went down. They scored a touchdown to then win a wild card matchup to play them again the next week. It was
what year was that?
I don't know. My brain does not even remember. I just remember watching it, and then afterwards it was a Brady Bunch marathon or a Brady Bunch.
Okay. So was it Warren Moon or before Warren Moon?
Might have been during the
Warren Moon.
Or was it Frank Reich? Because he had some big comeback.
You're too young. You can't be before Warren Moon. He started in 86, 87.
Might have been that. It might have been.
Yeah.
I don't remember the snow part, but I remember having some big comebacks.
Well, here's what I remember is that it was at the same time that the Brady Bunch Christmas special aired, because we recorded that. And in the recording, if we could find it at the Simpson household, these many years, in the recording, there is a commercial for CBS because it was on CBS. And they showed a highlight from the game because back in the day, they used to show highlights from the games during commercials. I don't know what they're doing. Why aren't you doing that now?
They're getting fucking paid right now.
Commercials do you remember the commercials where they would do, it would be a replay, and then it would be like, you make the call.
Right,
those were the best. Yeah. They give you a scenario, and then you'd have to decide. It would be so close.
I love that.
How can I address Faith in the comments?
Oh, yes. I said hi to Faith.
FF Leaf of Faith, shout out big time. You're awesome. She's speaking of Brady in the snow, the Tuck Rule game. I have an interesting factoid about that game. Ooh. So as you remember, the Patriots kept possession on that on that Woodson play, and so it came down to the game-winning kick by Vinatieri through the snow, famously. And you remember the guy that was doing the snow angels in the end zone after the kick went through?
Yes.
His name was Bo Hoskins, and he was the long snapper for the Patriots for a long time. He snapped some of the most famous Vinatieri kicks that won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, wow.
So he was the long snapper through all those Patriot years. He went to college with my cousin at Sac State. He was a Sacramento State Hornet, and he was a center. He was the team captain, offensive line guy, played center, snapped the ball to my quarterback cousin for 4 years. And he went on to get a practice squad gig with the Pats, and he was damn good at snapping the ball. So, of course, Belichick pulls him off the fucking streets and says, hey, you're a long snapper as long as you don't fuck up. And so a guy that I hung out with in the locker rooms at Sac State when I was a teenager ended up being on TV and quite famously doing snow angels at the Tuck Rule game when they won that game in a miracle.
I've got a question along those lines because you said this last week, and I was very intrigued. So you went to college with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, not the exact same time, but I went to Butte College, the same community college that he transferred to Cal from. Okay. He's a little bit old. He's 36 now, and I'm 33, so he was ahead of me. But I'm the same age as his little brother Jordan that was on The Bachelor.
So and you said, did you party with him or something like that?
Yeah, I had a couple parties that I went to with mutual friends, and he was at most of them because it was usually during a bye week or one time it was one of the first times I met him after he became a pro was at one of these parties that I went to after work, and he was just sitting there on the couch, and it was like they had just played the Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys, my Cowboys, and he ripped their heart out. That was the first time he ripped the Cowboys' heart out of all the career games that he's done it. and it was like his first year as a starter. He got the call because Favre was moving on, and he played the Cowboys on Thanksgiving and lit us fucking up, like destroyed Dallas. And of course, I was all butthurt about it. It was like Saturday after that game, and there he was sitting on the fucking couch, cocky as fuck because he just whipped on the Cowboys. He grew up. I'm talking. You have diehard fans. His entire family is diehard 49er fans. So he grew up wanting to play for the 49ers. It was a fucking like places were rioting when the Niners passed on him that year in 04.
Burning down donut shops and bakery.
Yeah, it was ugly because everybody thought the 49ers would take the kid that grew up in Northern California literal, like he would kill for a 49ers ticket if he could. Like he was just like, he was that much of a fan. And then he got passed. And he got passed up for Alex Smith. And then it became, I have to prove that the 49ers fucked up because that's my team. It's still his team. Like, I think when he retires, he's going to be dual fanship with the Packers and the 49ers because Chico still loves him, but he's bitter. And, of course, he's got that lifetime 49er fan hatred for the Cowboys. So it feels extra good for him to stomp on my stars, man.
So you went to this party, and then there's an NFL quarterback just sitting there chilling on the couch.
Yeah, and I've met him before when he was younger. I played in I was a freshman in high school, and he was a senior, and we played his Pleasant Valley team, and that was back when he was 5'11" and skinny, but he still had a rocket arm. And we won against his team like 42-38. Our running back, we pretty much just hand the ball off and we had this big, ugly fullback that nobody could tackle because he was a freak. And he was like Derrick Henry, the PV defense all game. He had 400 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. And Rodgers still mounted a comeback, and we won at the end when we like stripped Rodgers at the end and took over at the end and killed the clock. But it was a crazy game. But I met him then. And I went to grade school with his cousins. And
so why is Aaron Rodgers at this party? Is he with his brother?
No, he was with some of the buddies that he had from going to school in Chico. Okay. So he was there, and some of those buddies actually worked with me. And so I was invited by the same friends that invited Aaron over. And Aaron's just sitting there on the couch when I walked in, beer in my hand. Aaron Rodgers sitting on the couch, and he's not a good beer drinker, but he was drinking beer. And I went and my buddy was like, "Hey, look who showed up!" And I look over and there's fucking Aaron Rodgers. And I walk up and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm a big fan. I just I really wish you'd take it easy on my Cowboys." And I will never forget the laugh I got because his eyebrows went up and he went, "I love beating the Cowboys." And he just laughed, and I was like, "Dude, you're pure evil, but I fucking love it because you're a competitor." Like, he literally just ripped my heart out on Thursday, and here he is on Saturday laughing in my face.
That's a cool ass story, man. He's just
dude. It was. I'll never fucking forget that.
Like that.
Here's we need to write
that. I sat down with him and we had a chat about his cousins and all the people that we knew that at the same time. And
so he was cool. He wasn't like
No, he's abrasive because he does not like the limelight and he doesn't like being talked bad about. Yeah. He's got a strong ego and it helps him as a competitor. Mm-hmm. But you talk shit about Aaron Rodgers or you think he's done, that's just going to piss him off and he's going to be even better. Like he's done that his entire life. He got recruited by nobody out of high school. Nobody.
Well, here's one thing I think we should do. We should write that up and we should put it out for sure. Or we should just reach out and during the off season see if we can get a rerun and a beer time chill out. Because you're still there, and then we can report back and just see how that off-season hangout went, and a follow-up interview, and maybe we can get him to come on Fast Hard Finish. It sounds like his shit. Listen, all of us are here.
He does podcasts with people now talking about his alien sighting. Did you guys see that? It was awesome.
Yes,
it was awesome, and that's so Aaron because
alien sighting.
Yeah. He was
Fast Hard Finish, Mike. You don't even know.
No, I'm telling you.
Fighting. What happened? Do you know?
So he was doing an interview, and I believe it was on. It was either on. I want to say the punter guy. Who's the guy? The punter.
Pat McAfee show.
McAfee. Yeah, he was on McAfee. And McAfee asked him some question about if he believed in ghosts or aliens or something. And then he broke into this story. And I think he was with a teammate somewhere. And he had this experience where he saw, he heard this sound and he saw this object flying in the sky super fast. And then it took off and disappeared all of a sudden. And then he says fighter jets came by like 3 seconds later and flew by him really fast. And he was like, I don't know what the hell it was, but it's really hard to not believe it wasn't just like something not from this world.
It must be so weird to have that experience. And
yeah,
they're like a totally, regular.
Because usually you watch those on the internet, you watch the videos and you're like, yeah, it's plausible.
Right.
But it's not you. You're not there actually. Right. So you're not feeling what they're feeling. Like, can you imagine the feeling that those people had, just totally like unbelievably confused at what they just saw?
Well, think how scared the pilots are. And I'm not trying to cut Mike off, but those video recordings of the pilots who are being like, we're following it over the water. It seems to be levitating. Holy shit! They're like,
it just took off at Mach 7.
Yeah, you're like, that's not a command. That's not how they would normally talk. I've watched Top Gun. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like it when you cuss.
I'm inverted.
Yeah, you don't cuss. That's wrong. It's just so cool because I totally believe in so many other things. We should get into it on Fast Start Finish one day, what I really believe in. But I mean, if you think we're alone, oh my gosh, we're not alone. We're not alone.
The biggest thing was earlier this year when the government admitted that the UFOs were not of this earth. And I was very happy to see that, because it's a fucking duh for anybody who has a brain. But if the government admits it and they don't admit shit about shit that would keep a citizen informed, that's something big. That's a truth that they were actually ready to give us. That's insane.
I just think it's so weird if you have the experience, like
right. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Post Malone was on Joe Rogan and he has one too. Like he saw like, not the exact same thing as Aaron Rodgers, but he had an experience where he saw something that was like,
can't explain it.
Object. Yeah. And the things that it did and the way it moved and stuff.
Yeah. Not natural. And that's something that your brain can compute at that very moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he was only like 13 or something like that too, but
still, man.
Yeah, but it must just be so weird.
That's a guy, Post Malone, that if you hear him talk without seeing what he looks like, it's a totally different picture. Mm-hmm. Like, he's concise, he's a smart, very thoughtful person. He's obviously extremely talented with lyrics and writing. Yeah. And then you look at him, you're like, oh, that's different. I don't hate it. I'm just saying that's not what I pictured when I heard your voice.
Yeah.
Just the mannerism in which he speaks is so unique. And then he has a totally different, unique look.
If you listen to his music, though, like even Circles,
it's art.
He's living in another world, man. Like he is.
I'll have what he's having.
He learned to play guitar by Guitar Hero.
I heard you tell me that. Yeah.
That's shred on Guitar Hero.
Yeah, like
Rock Band. I'm the
best
best lead singer on Rock Band you ever had.
I've never played, so I just think that's crazy that you could actually I didn't know that it translates.
It's just rhythm.
Yeah,
you're pushing buttons instead of picking strings.
Yeah,
but it's still the same. Like, you have to have nimble fingers and rhythm to carry on with it in the game and with the real guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, you got some chip nipples. Chipples.
I just gotta say,
I'm dead sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the hot box in my belly.
Hey, Bo.
Merch.
Hey, Bo. You know what I want for Christmas?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a double X or like?
It's a double X.
Well,
I still have the shoulders to fit into a 4X.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. So for me. I got a little bit of a torso, but I've also got the shoulders as a broad. We're probably
a lot narrower as I go south. Not as narrow, not as much narrower as I used to be, but I still have some V shape to me because my
I
shoulders.
got arrow, if you know what I'm talking about.
I actually do in small doorways, like older houses, have to kind of tilt at an angle to get through easily without hitting my elbows because I like to walk and swing my elbows. I don't know why. I just always have.
Mike, I just gotta say, way cooler upgrade on myself, but Bo ticks all the boxes and really living a lot of my experiences. Just
Big Hands Club, baby.
yeah. Mike's a big proponent of the Big Hands Club.
Hey, D Hop's got nothing on me, baby.
You got big ones?
10 1/4.
Those are big.
He's in the club, man. He can roll
I'm in
them.
the Big Hands Club.
Just
I'm
like
in the Russell Wilson category.
I don't know what mine are, but I got big feet. I don't think my hands are that big, but I got size 14 feet. But
Yeah, I have 13. But I think it's correlated. Your hands are probably bigger than you think. At least 9.5.
I remember doing it, and maybe if I was a little bit more flexible, but I
You don't have those Trump Kyler Murray hands. I know that.
I don't have that like Michael Jordan. You can stick your thumb out super far.
Oh, Kawhi's are 11.5.
Oh my gosh.
11.5.
I remember the first time I saw that. It was that.
That's why they call him the Claw. It's insane. He's like the alien on signs.
It was a picture that came out about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, he's got a ball, an actual basketball.
Right. It's like him, Durant, LeBron. They're all playing, just a pickup game together. And
he's just holding it like this.
Ball. It looks like Photoshop. It looks like he's got like a little mini Nerf
tennis ball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
He looks like he's about to throw a fucking slider in the dirt. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. I know.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, 11.5 for Kawhi. And I believe the other giant hands club that's a next level hand size was Hakeem Nicks, the old Giants receiver. He was 11 1/4, I think, and he had to order special receiver gloves.
Yeah.
So yeah, big hands club Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah.
I think he went to North Carolina, am I right?
I don't know. Yeah.
I remember he made Eli look good for a few years.
Yep. He was a good fantasy player.
Great fantasy player. What, circa 06, 07?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kawhi's hands are.
With the gun, didn't he?
Look at that. His fingers have their own fingers.
Yeah.
His fingers have fingers.
That's just so scary.
That looks like a normal size hand too, next to his.
This is right. Look, that's a ring finger. God,
that looks like
but
like
wider too. Look at that. I just thought his fingers were long, but look how wide his palm is.
It's just Kawhi Leonard's hands are 52% wider than an average person.
Get that guy a basketball hoop.
Man, I mean, listen, here's all I have to say. He's pummeling a lot of things. He's not just pummeling basketballs.
Well, he came into the NBA as a defensive specialist, couldn't really shoot and score, wasn't that good at handling the ball, wasn't that good of a passer, and now he's a fucking MVP. He's shooting the ball. He's got the same great defense, even better. He's passing well. I mean, that's a guy. I mean, when he plays, I know it sounds really corny and probably hyperbole, but he reminds me a lot of Michael Jordan. Just the mannerisms in which he plays, the fluidity.
He's Michael Jordan without the
edge.
I mean, Jordan just looked so much more.
Well, Jordan would take over a game offensively, and Kawhi doesn't. I don't think will ever do that.
It's just like there's just a difference in like flair too. Like Kawhi will just go up, he'll just lay the ball up, or he'll just do.
Well, they would say that they would go through whole games guarding Kawhi, and he wouldn't say a single word. And is that creepy or what? That's almost better than trash talk. It's like no matter what I say to this guy, no matter what I do to this guy, he doesn't say a fucking word.
Yeah,
that's stone cold killer shit, man.
Yeah, and he's fucking good. So it's like imagine getting burned by a guy, and you're expecting him to talk a bunch of shit, and he just looks at you and raises his eyebrow and keeps going. You're like, oh, I hate you. I hate the Drake.
Yeah,
I hate the Claw. I wish you would just say something.
Right.
I wish you'd just tell me how you feel, Kawhi. Are you happy? Yes. Are you going to give me a creepy fake laugh?
Yeah. Did you see the commercial he did where he like did the laugh too? That was awesome.
Oh, and he's loving it. He's a reclusive guy, but he's got a sense of humor. And you could tell because they bring it up, and he chuckles about his chuckle.
Yeah.
Like
No.
he's amused by our amusement in his
He
quiet.
does not seem like somebody you would want to go on a road trip with, though.
No, he'd be boring as hell.
Oh my God.
Well,
He's not Scott Simpson.
he's the kind of guy that I could go on a road trip with because I would talk, he would chill.
He wouldn't listen to a word you were fucking said, but he wouldn't talk back at it. He wouldn't interrupt you like I do. I'm interrupting you again and again and again.
That's fine. That's fine. One thing he could be good at is a hitman. You know, you could be like,
Oh yeah.
you just kill somebody. You know, you and your partner got to take him out to the desert. It's long drives, nothing to say.
Yeah, and I don't think his personality would internalize any job he ever did. He wouldn't have to do much of a debriefing.
Yeah, he is like that blonde guy in Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steve Buscemi's buddy
yeah,
that murders him,
Yeah.
kills him.
the old Russian actor that plays every bad Russian or German guy in the action movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great. I loved him.
I have the same accent. I'm Russian, but I'm also German.
He was in 9mm too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in everything. He's always the bad Russian / German guy. It just depends on his wardrobe for the movie. He has the same persona, same accent, and he just wears a different outfit to differentiate between bad German and bad Russian.
Dude,
or bad Ukrainian.
9mm had some good bad guys. It had that guy. It had James Gandolfini, who's so good in that role. And then the Machine, you know, the guy who lived with his mom. That guy, that weird dude at the end.
You almost love the guy though. You love the guy.
Yeah, he's the same guy as in Devil's Advocate that plays the child molester.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a little off. You can't figure him out, but you kind of like him.
Oh yeah, that guy. Right. He looks like kind of like harmless, scary, but still very scary at the same
chilling.
time.
He's a chilling character.
Yeah, he's like,
I love that. The wood
it.
chipper guy. He's the wood chipper guy in Fargo.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the guy.
Oh Scott just brought up the screen of the Fargo scene
of our guy.
I love Buscemi.
Oh, Buscemi
as a person, as everything.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
He's the man.
Boardwalk Empire is a fucking masterpiece of a show.
You know, he was a firefighter before he got famous. Yeah.
Yeah, and he ran in towards to save people at 9/11. That's the famous story. He was running towards the rubble, and put back on his fireman's uniform to go help people.
Yeah.
So was he off? Was he like leaving and then it happened?
He was in town. He was in town and he was blocks away, so he was safe from the.
No. He wasn't working.
No.
He was just there, and then he suited up.
Yeah, he was an actor by that point, and he was a firefighter beforehand.
And so but when he was there, he went and donned just to go in, just to.
Yep.
So back to his old firehouse, and
that's incredible.
They were looking for all the help they could get at that point because a lot of them were perished in that collapse because they were all running in and then it collapsed.
I didn't know that about Buscemi at all, man. That makes me just love him even more. Like I've always he's
a real deal dude.
Oh, dude, he's one of my favorite actors of all time.
He's up there with Gary Sinise.
Ooh, that's great. That's a great call. William Dafoe. William Dafoe's
another great guy.
Yeah, I mean,
and a fucking amazing actor.
Incredible.
Just that scene in Boondock Saints. There was a firefight. His shirt all torn open, his hair disheveled. That's iconic. I'll never forget that scene. I could see it now.
I saw Willem Dafoe in Vegas once.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was walking.
It's a story.
Yeah, he was walking in.
Dafoe story.
He had two just gorgeous women. He had one on each arm.
Damn right he did.
They made him look like he was Bilbo Baggins. I mean,
they were tall model types, and he's not.
He looked like a little toy. I was just like, that's what he looked like in real life. Like he looked like he was about 5'1". Like
right.
He was very small looking.
Put it in your pocket.
Yeah. Well, and those girls in heels are like 6'3" and a half.
Right. They were probably
And
like,
he could be 5'7", 5'8", like pretty
Yeah.
normal height, maybe a little below average. And
Yeah.
and like next to those girls, it's like, what the fuck is
he
going
looked
on?
like he was with two mommies, like his mom and his aunt.
Mom and stepmom,
Yeah.
or a mom and babysitter.
Was this after Boondock Saints? So I think it was, right? Like when you
Boondock Saints was like what,
Couple years.
99?
Yeah.
So this had to have
98,
been.
99.
It was probably right around that time, probably like 99.
There was a firefight in my pants.
Well, I love him. There's so many great character actors, or not character actors, but just when you think about it, it's the Daniel Day-Lewis model of really imbibing. You know, I think of the
You
Professional.
become the character for the
Become the
duration.
Yeah, what was the bad guy in The Professional who was like cracking his neck all the time? And,
Gary Oldman.
yeah, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, man, he's good.
In that movie, like one of my favorite bad guy, over the top, believable performances that was heartless and soulless and exactly what you expect in that type of scenario. I that's one of my favorite performances of all time. I can't believe that he didn't get like a supporting actor nomination for that, because that was just I love that.
Really, I don't think that they care about the awards as much as the outside world does.
Yeah,
Because their recognition's coming from getting more gigs,
that's
like
true.
getting recognized, where like, oh, that's the guy that was fucking awesome in that movie. And you can command $30-40 million a picture when you're at the very top. And so they're looking for that next $20 million pop. And so that recognition from a good performance, whether they get awarded or not, that's what they're after as an actor.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I just think there's so many amazing performances that go under the radar. That
I mean, Leo DiCaprio didn't win an Oscar until 3 years ago for The Revenant.
Mhm.
that was a great movie, though. Me and Mike
And
saw
we're
that.
talking dozens of Oscar-worthy performances in his career, and he finally gets one for The Revenant.
Well, literally every single role he's played, he could have won it for. I mean,
Owned
he's
it.
so good. Like the Basketball Diaries.
Mm.
Go back to that. He should have
My
won it
favorite
for that.
all-time movie is The Departed, and he was the lead role, but I would say he was one of 6 Oscar-winning performances in that movie alone. Plus the screenplay, the editing was perfect. The Departed is a perfect movie to me. There's no holes. There's no loss of anything. You go through every minute of every scene, and it's just spotless. And then you have all these big, huge names putting in insanely good performances.
I love Mark Wahlberg. I love him. I love him in that movie.
I'm the guy that does his job. You must be the other guy.
I love when he was just there and he was wearing his outfit, like his murder outfit. It's one of
His booties.
All-time scene. He's just like,
Oh, yep. Okay.
I didn't like how he wasn't wearing. He needed like a
head,
power cap.
yeah,
Yeah.
head guard. Yeah.
Lose your hairs, bro. Like, come on, man.
Fibers.
Yeah, you're gonna lose hair fibers. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I
I
bet
like
you
how,
the director came
but
to him.
even just the editing behind the drop of the grocery bag in that scene is spotless.
Yeah.
Like you just see him shrug his shoulders and you know what's going to happen. Like that whole ending was just a sequence of dominoes of death falling. And it's just, I love that fucking movie. I mean, I've watched hundreds and hundreds of movies from all over the world, and that's the best one. It's the one I pick, and nothing has beaten it since. The Irishman was up there, but it was maybe top 10. It's like, I'm not even just a Scorsese fan. He's made some good stuff, but he's made some duds too.
I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to argue movies, because I feel like I'm in the company of much greater movie connoisseurs than myself. So I'm not going to say, but when I was in high school and I was drunk and high.
I relate to that.
Ooh, and I watched The Godfather 1 and 2 and 3 consecutively. There was no greater experience in my life. I mean, movie-wise,
it's remarkable.
Yeah,
especially through 1 and 2, where you're just like,
oh my
every moment is just tension.
Oh my gosh, I never seen it. It was and my friends,
Oh.
Mike hung out with them. Rick, Pete, Steve, may two of those
You
people.
make me tear up. I love the Godfather series.
I mean, it even in 3, the helicopter scene in 3, the first time I watched it, blew me away. Blew Joey Zaza.
Well, I mean, De Niro was polished by the time that movie came out.
My favorite was when he goes, I got a message for you. And I don't know where the glass, my regular, these glasses. He's like, I got a message for you. Let me whisper it in your fucking ear. He's like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah. He takes the glasses, stabs him. Yeah. I was like, man,
that's badass.
All of it. You got me in all of it. As a 16, 17-year-old male, I was like, you had me at Zaza.
We love unrequited violence.
Oh man,
we're all bloodthirsty animals, and if you say you're not, you're lying.
You put a little cousin sex in there with the Francis Ford Coppola daughter.
Sophia.
Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, I'm down with it all. I believe that Nookie scene when they're making the gnocchi, and yeah, I believe it. They're Italians. I believe it. I was Italian once too, so I get it.
Me too.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So Tyler Croft tomorrow. Let's transition back to answer the question from Bethany. I don't have much expectation for Tyler Croft because he disappears at times. But I mean, when you look at every other tight end on the roster dropping out from COVID or at least exposure, Croft is the only short yardage receiver they have, maybe besides Beasley. And then they run gadget plays with McKenzie a lot, but he doesn't see a ton of work. And John Brown's out, so I think Beasley's upgraded, and Diggs is same as always, if not a little higher.
Yeah, what do you think about Gabriel Davis?
Love him. Great player. And that's going to be a big coming out party for him without Brown taking away the outside routes. Because they were running Gabe Davis in the slot. I don't think he's polished enough at this point in his career to run those routes. No. He's more of a vertical post guy, kind of like DK Metcalf. Maybe not quite as explosive, but Gabriel Davis in the open field is pretty impressive.
He had the first touchdown of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they targeted him in the red zone. That was the first catch he had. So
yeah, I like him. I like him a lot as a dynasty prospect for sure. But Stephon Diggs is the alpha for sure, by far, long shot. With him and John Brown both healthy, it's more muddy because I think the world of Smokey Brown. But Diggs without Brown on the field, he's gonna be that top. Like Josh Allen's gonna be looking his way a lot. Yeah, Croft maybe 5 targets, 3 for 42. If you want 6, 7, 8 points, I mean he's good for that.
Yeah.
What's his cost on DraftKings?
Oh, he's probably 3,000.
You know what? I have a tool for that. I will check in a second.
Check the tight end tool on nimblewnumbers.com.
I will share it.
It's the tool I use to win money on DraftKings. And according to the masses, other than me, I'm a DFS expert.
Well, you know what? I believe
I'm not going to call myself one. I'm not there yet. I have to win more to call myself an expert.
Well, you were really high on Swift last week. That was a great play.
Yeah, Swift and Jefferson were my two calls of glory this last week, and plus my hot take of the Falcons beating the Vikings by 7 or more. Oh God, that was beautiful. I was in my pecan takes, the first pecan take to come true 100% this season. And so I'm still victory lapping until I go over 4 this week. But I'm going to spend this entire week leading up to tomorrow's kickoff on my Atlanta Falcons hot take. Perfectly 100% came true how I described in that paragraph. And it was a masterpiece. I'm fucking stoked that I nailed one 100%.
So I have questions for you. So this week, who are you going chalk with? Who are you? All right, I'm putting in my lineups. I know this is guaranteed lock. I don't care about spending the money. I know other people are going to get them. Who's your chalk guys?
actually I'm not spending up on it. But my top guys that are in just about every lineup are Rojo and Kareem Hunt.
Okay. Rojo.
Of course, Kamara's in a lot of them because I mean, just look at the matchup. In some of my tournament plays, I'm actually thinking about in the Millie fading Alvin Kamara and putting in Latavius Murray because of the game flow. And the last time they had a similar opponent, it was a split, and Kamara was everybody owned. It was on a primetime game, so he was really expensive, and everybody had him, and he scored 20 points. But Latavius Murray is the one that got all the second half garbage time, kill the clock carries, and he also scored twice. So he had 22 points, and he was half the salary.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any chance that happens with Fournette tomorrow with your boy Ronald Jones?
Fournette, not as much because Fournette is still not 100%. And so they're going to ease him back this week.
What was his injury? He just sprained his ankle? I mean,
he's had a history of weak ankles, so a grade 1 sprain is going to be nagging to him because he's had that before.
Mm-hmm.
I have weak ankles. I know how it goes. It's like you're always in danger of rolling it and tweaking it with just any weird motion, because if you sprained your ankle really bad in the past, those ligaments are never going to bounce back 100%.
So give me your DeAndre Swift, Justin Jeffersons for this week. Give me the guys that people are not on.
Not on.
So can I pause for just a second, by the way? And this is to pivot off of what you're saying, Mike. So we're not getting rid of it at all. I just want to add to that. Last week when we built our Millie Maker lineup, we hit 204, and that was me and Bo together. I think what one thing that is important in all of this is that Bo might not hit every single play or every player, but really we're all gleaming insight from each other. And that is where it really comes down to.
I think that's why Mike is interested in my answer.
Exactly.
Because chances are it might blow up in all of our faces, but we have to give it a shot.
It's good to get it out there.
Collective. Yep.
I don't know if John Helmkamp Dynasty Beard is watching, but he's relatively new to the DFS game, and he's been sending me screenshots of his lineups at different like primetime captain showdowns, and then his Sunday builds. And he's just asking me for advice, or he's just kind of saying, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think about it?" And I'm finding myself playing a few of his lineups because he's building it differently from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like might be on the same guys. Like I'm seeing a lot of my same guys in articles I read from other people, and that's it's a good thing for me to feel validated, but it's also scary to me that maybe I'm not as novel as I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody comes to me with something different from what I'm building, like even if we have the same guys, they're sprinkled just a little differently, that might help me. So I'm going to ask you some questions after I answer this.
All right. I'm down.
Just like I did earlier with that flex question. I need a different perspective because the vision can get a little blurry if you keep looking at the same picture.
I know, man. You know what I hate too is that this is the thing that I'm trying to, figure out how to beat when I'm building lineups is that I start. Okay, so I you have your guys that you want to build around or whatever.
Yeah.
So then you move into a new lineup, and it's like you build your lineups, and then it's like you start with like a different cast of characters, and it's like how do you figure out how to stay with the ones that but not get sidetracked when you get into this new kind of perspective on like, all right, this quarterback, this stack, and
I don't want to going back to the actor thing. I don't want to break character of how I like to do things. I don't want to look back after the lineups lock at 10 a.m. my time. I don't want to see when I lock and look back and say, that doesn't look like what I want it to look like.
It's like you kind of forgot. Yeah, that's my point. It's
you lose track of your original mission.
Right.
And I found myself doing that a few weeks ago because I got locked into some conversations with Chase Vernon, and he's brilliant with the data. Like he gives me so much data, like stuff that I wouldn't even think to research because I don't care that deeply. I don't think it's as important in my heart. But then I hear him spout all this data and make really good points and compelling arguments for players that I'm not high on, and I find myself putting too much of his ideas into my lineups, and then it doesn't end up resembling what I wanted in the end. And so I want to take the advice, but not oversalt the dish.
Yeah, well, that's why I just want your two. I want one or two of your nuggets. Like your last week's DeAndre Swift. What a great call, man! You said it last week too. You said I have him in like 80% of my lineup. So
Swift was everywhere.
Won me $100.
I had Julio a lot of places. I had Tannehill stacks everywhere. And that was of course, the lineups I scored 220, 225 in were in 25-cent free ticket paid tournaments where I won like a couple dollars. And so, yeah, I'm winning 6-7 times my money, but good Lord, it was so sad to see those. Like tonight, I built 5 lineups before the show started, and they're going to be for 10-cent, 25-cent, 50-cent GPPs, and I'm not going to bankroll all those lineups into the Million Maker. I can't.
Yeah, the 50-cent ones I think is the bomb. You know,
because I like them, but the upside really isn't there. It's like it's not really gambling. It's just like, oh, cool. I can see how good my lineup building is without as much risk. But also, it's a little depressing when one of those things pops off and you could have won way more in another tourney.
If you're not looking to spend a ton of money and you want to put in, 30, 40, 50 lineups, the 50-cent one, it's like the juice.
The only way to do it for regular guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like we're not your diamond black level DK users that are getting free money every day on the daily rewards. Yeah. We're not those guys. We're getting some free tickets and some crowns here and there. They might throw us a couple bucks if we're gold status. But
I do a few expensive ones, but it's like what I like to do, the way I do it is I build my lineup in those 50-cent leagues. And then it's like I kind of get the big picture after having done,
go to the
30 and then I'll go spend my money now because I'm like, all right, this is who I want.
Volume plays or game stacks?
Game stacks. Because I think what we're getting at is more of a GPP mindset. That tight end right there, Hunter Henry is one of my guys this week.
I like Hunter Henry a lot.
I love Hunter Henry. Besides Travis Kelce, he'll be the next highest scoring tight end this week. And he's a clean 1,800 less than Kelce.
I'm writing this shit down. It's noteworthy.
I mean, look at who they're playing. The LA Chargers have a great matchup on offense. Their offense matches up well with I lost it. Who is it? Chargers.
Oh, yeah, they're playing Jacksonville.
That's right. Yeah, another like kitten defense. Overall, every level, they have problems. So you're looking at Mike Williams at 4,700 as a great value. I don't necessarily want to stack those 3 guys in a bunch of lineups with Herbert, Mike Williams, and Hunter Henry because Herbert's 6,400. He's not as cheap as I would think he was because, I mean, you got basically the same guy with the same matchup in Joe Burrow that's only 5,500. I figured those guys are equal this week. They're both probably going to score 22 to 25 points, and so I'd rather spend 5,500 on that guy.
I like it both. I like both your bring back in that game. You have several game bringbacks, which is really cool.
Yes. I like to look at the higher than expected totals that I can peg down because I'm down on all 3 of those marquee games. The 3 games that have 55 plus totals implied, I'm fading those as all unders. That's one of my hot takes this week is all 3 of those games are going to be under the total. Because I see game flow, rushing attacks, killing the clock, and then just the nature of the give and take of 2 bad defenses against decent offenses, it doesn't always equate into a shootout. You have one team that presses too hard, like last week, and Minnesota turns it over 3 times. They were very fortunate to score some points at the end of that game, because the Falcons were able to put them one-dimensional and beat the living crap out of them.
And they did.
Yeah.
They gave them the beat us down.
And that was my nail of the week of the season so far. But this week, I'm feeling really good about cash games. I'm feeling even better about my GPP builds because I feel like I have edges everywhere. I have chalk. I have your spend up on certain guys that you really, really like, because that's what this is all about. You're looking for the guy that you want to see splash. You want to pay for that guy.
Well, speaking of that, I think one of the things that we really love to do here, not that we have to end it all or anything, but as we kind of wrap up our show or bring our show to a conclusion, we have to build a lineup. So I'm telling you the contest, Bo, so you know what we're in, Mike, as well. We are in the
I'm building it too. I'm going to do it with you.
It's the $3. It's the $3, I believe,
entry.
The Millie Maker 1.4 million.
Okay, so it's 150 max.
Yeah. So we're gonna go buck wild. So I think we should do maybe 3 different ones, Mike. If you want to jump in here, you could grab a $3 one. If not, it's okay. You can help inform mine. We should have some of the same overlap, but we should definitely go buck wild. This is for diversity here.
Sunday only slate, right?
Yes, 12. It's
12 games.
It's 12 games. It's going to be. How many people are in it right now? Let's see what it says. It is 1.4 million play action, 100K to first. It's a 20. It's a 20 entry max.
Oh, that works.
Yeah, I like that.
Definitely not 150. That's much better.
I'm sorry.
It's a level or more level playing field.
Right.
But I just saw your tight end question from Bethany. I like Njoku this week over Fells, surprisingly. I'm fading Fells this week. And Njoku is a wild card. He's a $3,000 player that is another standalone tight end because of injury.
What do you think about Harrison Bryant in the move tight end role?
He's more of a blocker. He's seen some opportunities, but he's a really, really good blocker. And Njoku's a decent blocker, but he's a better receiver than Harrison Bryant. So I see Njoku as more athletic. He's going to have more likely more routes run than Harrison Bryant. And he's also trade bait, so they might feature him a little bit more to get a little bit more value out of him in a swap before the deadline.
I heard Pete Davidson mention the same thing as well.
I listened to his show earlier today.
I like it. It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Actually, you said Fells is a good play. He is a good play. I'm just kind of down on him this week compared to what he's done in previous weeks that jacked his price up over 4,000. I'm also liking in that same Cleveland-Cincinnati game, Drew Sample this week. Last time those two teams played, that was Drew Sample's one big game this year where when Joe Burrow threw the ball 61 times, a lot of those passes were dump-offs, PPR machines for Drew Sample.
So here's a question. Let's say
and everybody spent their fab on Drew Sample that week.
Yeah, guilty.
Week 3 waivers with Drew Sample, $53.
Yeah. Well, what do we think about Joe Burrow at 5,500 this week? Is he in the conversation? Is he going to pop? Do we think
he's in my article from what I remember?
I do remember that. What do you think about putting him in this? You can do your own QB, of course.
No, I'm going to build this one too with you, so I'm going to make the same one. I'm on board with Joe Burrow.
So I'd like to double stack Joe Burrow. Which receiver are we going to do with Joe Burrow?
Tyler Boyd.
TB.
Yep.
Mike, what are you thinking over here, buddy? Any ideas about
I'm with you. I don't want to Aaron Rodgers. So
stand for yourself.
Yeah,
give us a player.
Swing and miss. So you get back up and you hit again.
Yeah. Well,
give us a player, monkey.
I would go T. Higgins, but I think Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, either way. I mean,
so they're only priced $100 apart.
Right.
And I'm thinking recency bias says that the higher owned player is actually T. Higgins.
You think?
I think so. I think your sharps are going to be on Tyler Boyd because even if it's the same ownership, Tyler Boyd's had more good games than T. Higgins. We're still counting on rookie wide receiver putting it together 3 weeks in a row.
So here's my only thing with our guy Sample. Even with 9 targets, he only got 11.5 points
because he didn't go anywhere. He caught like 7 balls for -1 air yards.
Yeah, this is like ridiculous. What do we want to double stack this, or maybe even stack it with Gio, thinking that they might get some dump off passes to him? Gio is the backfield. That's where he made his.
I am all over Gio in a cash game because I think he's going to get 20 touches.
Yeah, this is GPP, right? So you're trying
GPP. I'm thinking Gio's going to be very chalky and with a pretty low ceiling. Yeah, I don't see him as an explosive player anymore.
So let's.
And the Browns aren't terrible at the second level.
You're setting up for a cash game if you do Giovanni.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I mean. It's kind of a multiplier lineup too, because in a cash game you don't necessarily have to stack or double stack.
A lot, Mike. Let's bring another RB in here that we think might be maybe under-owned, and maybe we can get some value on him.
That's how you play the game, my friend.
Yes. What do you think?
Well,
Chris Carson, James Conner, Ronald Jones, any of these guys, you want to pay up for?
If you're gonna,
my guys.
Yeah, you like Ronald Jones.
I like Ronald Jones. I love Connor.
I love
Carson. Yeah, I love Carson this week. That game flow, I think, is going to be way slower than people think, and I think it's going to be Seattle just controlling the clock, like old-fashioned Seahawks football, because they're not going to want Kyler Murray tearing up their secondary all game.
So what do you think, Mike? Between Carson, Connor, and Ronald Jones, who are you edging towards?
Probably Connor.
I did this. I would say Connor, but
I would say Connor because
I like it too.
he's game flow proof.
Yeah, I think he's safest. So
yeah. And Carson's not going to be a big part of a passing shootout if it turns into one.
I think Connor's guaranteed volume in this game, no matter what the script is.
Right.
I think he gets a touchdown for sure.
And he's got huge touchdown upside, especially when their opponent is getting pretty much – they're kind of middle of the road everywhere, but lately they're giving up big plays.
Yeah.
And so they're going to try to sew up that back end so that Claypool doesn't get loose on them, even though they might not be able to stop him.
Yeah.
But Connor, either way, is going to get 20-plus touches, and – he's not going up against a strong run defense. And if they're ahead, like I expect them to be, it's going to be a heavy dose of Connor.
Do we want to run that back in our wide receiver stack with an A.J. Brown look for 6,300, or is that something that's a bit too priced up for us?
I think we're pretty priced down. We saved at quarterback and at wide receiver 1 so far. So I think we can spend up for A.J. Brown. I love A.J. Brown this week.
Mike, what do you think about A.J. Brown?
AJ Brown.
I think what you've seen out of the Pittsburgh Steelers so far is a willingness to blitz and to really go all out,
take
chances, and that's where A.J. Brown will burn you, baby.
Well, yeah, and that's the one weak spot we've seen from Pittsburgh's defense is they are great everywhere, but they're in so much man coverage that if you get a talented guy in space down the field and you can actually have time to throw it, if you successfully pick up that Pittsburgh blitz, they get shredded. I mean, even Darius Slayton had a huge game against that secondary.
Fulgham made his bones on that game. I mean,
yeah. I think Carson Wentz is a much better quarterback than Daniel Jones, and Fulgham is good, but I mean, from what I've seen, he's a good wide receiver, and he's going to have a decent career. Slayton is a very good wide receiver with a fucking terrible quarterback.
The worst.
Like, come on, man. He got sniped 80 yards into an easy touchdown run. It's like, dude, what the hell was that? That was the funniest shit I've ever seen. Of course, it's in a game where I'm rooting against both teams because I'm a Cowboys fan. I literally hate the Eagles and Giants with a fiery passion. I hate the Washington football team with a fiery passion. And so this week I'm all jacked up to watch the Cowboys probably choke again. Yeah, it's a wild weekend for me because I just watched a travesty of a ball game end up exciting on Thursday.
I got a lot of Washington football team defenses in, that's for sure.
Me too.
Well,
I mean, you're stupid not to.
Yeah.
I'm eating that chalk at 2,500 all fucking day.
Let's pivot to that right now and just throw that in there. That
Put
might
it in.
be a
Put it in.
chalk
That's
sandwich.
a standalone defense.
Yeah.
You can. I did a couple stacks with Gibson. I even did one with McLaurin and the football team defense.
I have 2 defenses this week in every league. I either did Buffalo or I did Washington football team. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
I have one Buffalo and the rest are football team, about 70%, and then the rest are Buccaneers. Oakland or Las Vegas Raiders offensive line is all quarantined. Even if they play, they haven't practiced all week. They're going to get tested first thing in the morning tomorrow. So even if they're cleared to play, that's a whole week with no practice. And it might mean the world against a damn good Bucs defense.
Yeah.
Damn good defense. They're playing good at every level. They made Aaron Rodgers look like I've never seen Rodgers that bad. Like he's had bad games, but he looked bad.
It was that second interception that almost was
the pick six, like it just broke his spirit for the game.
He just lost his mind. Like he was just like, lost. I lost us the game.
I think he was so confused at what happened that he got gun shy. Like he didn't want to throw a tight window throw the rest of the game because he didn't see that coverage coming. And that's an ego shatterer right there. Like you throw what you think is a good pass for a first down, and a guy literally jumps in front and takes it to the house in your face. That'll shake you.
Yeah,
and it did. It knocked him off his game. He wasn't looking at the deep routes anymore. He was checking it down, and then when he threw a mid range, he was throwing at the ground. It's like that's not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the Bucs defense did that to him. They broke him.
I think they're a top 3 B. So,
I mean, how much of an animal is Ndamukong Suh? Fuck.
Yeah, he was talking all mad ass to Rodgers.
Dude, those guys hate each other. Back when Suh stomps on him on Thanksgiving.
I remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And I read a quick interview bite that they had on Aaron Rodgers after the game. He went to have a conversation with Suh after the game, and Suh did a no-show. Like he was just fired up because the Bucs won, and he were running off the field celebrating. And Aaron Rodgers was in the middle of the field looking for him to talk to him, shake his hand, and bury the hatchet from the stomp and all the trash talk. And Suh didn't show up, and so he's like, well, I guess the hatchet's not buried. You can't get along with everybody.
The war continues.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers basically wished him the best and said, "Man, I was trying to bury the hatchet, but I guess he's not on board with that yet."
Yeah. Well, I see those guys meeting.
Those teams are going to see each other again later.
Unless the Bears, like, what is going on? The Bears.
We do have expanded playoffs, so I see the Packers being fine for the playoffs. They're a great team. They laid an egg on Tampa Bay's game, but that's a good team. They're a little soft though. They got punched in the mouth and they got shook.
How much left do you have?
Ooh, I love Tyreek.
Well, you guys are doing a little something. I got a little something that I was doing. Building
5,900.
I've got an idea about who I want.
Yeah,
we're looking for him right now. Mike knows. Mike knows.
Christian Kirk.
Deontay Johnson.
No, Mike knows who he is.
Deontay's way too cheap for what we have left.
I know.
And you don't know if the guy's going to finish a game. I want to see it.
Yeah,
he's so good. He's so good, and he's a big part of that offense. But god damn, missed a game and a half for a bruised back.
All right, what do we think?
Bo's not going to like it.
What do we think?
Ruggs.
Well,
Bo's not a fan.
I'm not a fan though. That's a great price on a player that has a humongous upside. And the Buccaneers defense is good, but they're a bend but don't break defense. Well, they give up their share of plays.
And here's the thing. I was listening to the podcast I was on with Chase on yesterday, and Chase was sharing about how Derek Carr, when he is blitzed, has 123 QB rating and is able to identify his hot reads, is able to get it out quickly.
That's the key. You said it right. You hit it right on the head. Is a smart quarterback. Carr might not be the most talented guy. He doesn't have the best arm talent. But
Right.
he's a smart quarterback. And the smart quarterbacks, when they know that a blitz is coming, he might not even identify it that well, but he knows a blitz is coming. He's going to be able to move his protection and find the hot receiver if he's wrong. Like, you have to get rid of the damn ball. If that guy's coming free, you're not going to hold on to it like Andy Dalton did all game.
No,
I'm going to say this about Ruggs because I'm Mr. Henry Ruggs. Okay,
Yeah.
This is actually a really hard matchup for him.
It should be, but that's the beauty of it. Is if you get him in the right man-to-man or zone crossing route, and Carr has a clean pocket for once, because he's going to be under duress a lot in that game.
Yeah.
But you get that 1 or 2 plays in the whole game. Carr could be having the worst game of his life, but you could still get 1 or 2 shots or even 3 or 4 shots of Ruggs with the ball in his hands, and that's special.
See,
Yeah.
here's the thing is that the cornerbacks that they have,
They're good. They're good.
Mel Dean, that was the guy.
Dean was got the pick 6.
Yeah, he right now is like one of the best corners in the league.
He's surprised everybody.
He's going to be on him, but here's this is the reason why I'm a big believer in Ruggs is that Ruggs is playing slot, and he's playing. I mean, here's what I believe, and this is why I think this is the last time he's in the 4,000s. I think we have not seen all the packages that they're going to use him in.
I think,
and I expect to see a lot more bubble screen type stuff with him.
And shovel passes, those push passes.
He's back to fully healthy, and I just think this is I think Henry Ruggs is going to be one of those wide receivers that it's just like it doesn't matter who, he's gonna continue to move up the DraftKings price poll, and
a lot like CD Lamb early on was in the 4,800, 5,500, and then 6,000, and then 6,600, and now he's back down to 6,000, which is still overpriced.
And that's only because Andy Dalton is the QB.
No, CD Lamb is 6,500. He's 100 more than Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that's not the Andy Dalton effect. They haven't discounted him one bit.
Right.
So here's
nobody's playing him because he plays with Andy Dalton.
So here's what they're saying. I'm telling you, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I'm looking at a Roto Baller tool that matches up the corners with the wide receivers. Also shares how the corners have done. If Ruggs gets Carlton Davis, which is the worst of the matchups against the corners, that he gives up 13.5 fantasy points a game. Yet Jamel Dean is giving up less than 10. You don't want to face him. You're right.
Right.
And then you also, definitely don't want Sean Murphy Bunting either in the slot. He's
tough. And that's the main. That's who I think is going to cover Ruggs, because Ruggs is their slot receiver. They don't line him up outside.
Yeah, he's doing a lot out of the slot.
I think he's still not physical enough and not big enough to run the X or the Y.
I just think he is going to be somebody that
or the Z. I mean, he is the Y.
He's going to have game scripts where he catches 6-7 balls, I think tomorrow you're going.
And that's exciting because the guy every time he touches it is a threat.
It's
like I watch a lot of college ball, a lot of college ball, and my wife is an Alabama fan, and so we watch a lot of Bama football. And Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, those guys are just special. Like Ruggs in a different way, though. Judy's just polished.
Yeah,
he is. I think he's a better deep threat than Ruggs.
I went back and watched it. I mean, it's a lot of both of their highlights, and Ruggs to me is just he's just like, it's just weird what he does once he gets the ball in his hands. I mean, his breakaway speed and stuff like that.
It's effortless and beautiful.
It's so effortless. It doesn't look like
the touchdown he had 2 weeks ago, the game before the bye week. That was him jogging.
Yep.
He didn't need fifth gear.
No.
He ran that post. He ran that post in fourth gear or third gear, caught it, and it turned it to fourth gear. Looked back. He's pulling away, and he cruised.
But see, that first game where he got injured and he had 3 catches in the first half.
The first one they got down to the 2-yard line.
Right, he almost had a 20-point game in the first half. That to me is going to be the game script that you're going to see more than last week, where everyone thinks he's going to be this 2-catch, boomer bust guy. I don't believe that's how he's going to be used. I think he got injured. They kept using him as a decoy. They injured him worse to the point where he had to, get off the field. And he's back to full strength now. So I expect
good. People don't give him credit. They think he's just the fast guy. He's not John Ross. He's a talented wide receiver.
Yeah.
John Ross was great at Washington, but he was a gadget player only. He scored on reverses, on screen passes. He didn't run a full route tree at Washington. But goddamn, when you're that fast in college, you don't have to.
Right.
And against Pac-12 defenses, John Ross was a stud.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, you got to run routes. You got to shake tough man coverage. You have to sit down in zones. You have to be able to just be effective in space. And just because you're fast doesn't mean you're good in space.
I was watching tape of Raiders camp, and they were asking all the players, who do you think is going to be, the big
there it is
breakout, and everyone was like Henry Ruggs. They're just like he's actually way stronger than
it's upside.
Can you guys see this?
So
all
Ruggs did 27 reps at 225 in the bench press.
He's a
Bama strong kid.
225? That's crazy. That's so strong.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's an athlete. And at Bama, they lift weights. Look at fucking what's that? Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, all those guys were pumping huge amounts of weight.
Henry Ruggs did that though?
I might be wrong, but I know he's strong.
That's like offensive lineman numbers almost.
Almost. Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's one of the stronger kids, strong for his size.
Yeah, 225. I remember there was a punter this year that did in the 30s or something like that.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
He was a weightlifter that also knew how to punt.
Yeah. What are you trying to do, Scott?
He's pulling up that big comeback.
Somebody gave me the whole video of it, but it was just so long. I'm not going to watch
the highlights.
Yeah.
So who did you put at tight end?
Okay. So going back, no one. But
you have a hole here where if you spend to the top at Hawkinson, who I like, you are left with $600. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I mean, I'm definitely okay with leaving money on the table. I think you have to diversify and not spend all your money. I think that kind of gives you a little bit of an edge. I love this team, honestly, with Ruggs. I like how you guys are trying to talk me off of it and then talk me back onto it. And I think Ruggs,
I would never talk you off Ruggs in a GPP.
Yeah, I mean, I said he was going to win me $1 million. Maybe he wins me $100,000 instead, but I'll take it. I think this lineup screams upside. You have. Hawkinson is going to be a great play. He's going to be a little chalky, but I mean, this looks everything. If this was my team and I was going up against anybody in week number 7, I'd be like, I'm going to fucking crush them. I'm going to fucking crush them.
I'm going to lay waste to them.
I'm going to put dong on your head. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, that happens in the fast start finish. Speaking of that, it is past. It's almost 1 a.m. in the Eastern Standard Time. As my good friend Mr. Denny Carter says, the only real time zone. But Mr. Bo lives in another time zone. Bo, what's it like to live in a time zone that doesn't exist, according to Denny Carter? What do you think about that?
As much as I love Denny Carter, he's wrong because it's great to watch World Series games at 5 p.m. it's great to watch primetime games at 5:30 and the game is over by 9. And it's great to watch West Coast college sports that might not kick off till 7:30 at night, and you guys miss all that. The only downfall is having to get up and get ready for kickoff at 10 a.m.
Speaking of that, are you going to be primed and ready at 8:30 a.m. your time for the Millie Maker pod tomorrow, or should we go earlier? I can go earlier than that if you're gonna. You know what I mean? Like we can go at 10 if you wanted to. I mean,
if
whatever.
you can pardon what I look like after no sleep at 0 dark 30.
Well, I guess the question is, what's if you're going to do a no sleep session? What's better for you, earlier or closer to kickoff? Like, where do you get more amped?
It's irrelevant. I'm going to be ready either way.
All right, man. I'm going to wake up.
I think your normal 8:30 window or 11:30 your time window is fine.
Excellent. Well, you know what, Mike, you're welcome to jump on that too. We're going to build the Millie Maker. This is a pretty good lineup. I'm going to submit this bad boy and hopefully win some cash. And if I do, I'm going to share it with all you guys because I think you're good people and I like you and your friends. So you know what? That's how.
If you haven't already, go to nimblewnumbers.com and read all the stuff. Read the DFS value tool that Scott has built based on all the data this season. And so we can find any edge you're looking for. And of course, if you have the time, read my very voluptuous and wordy articles that if you scroll to the bottom, you can find the meat and potatoes of the picks that I have. But if you're looking for literary nonsense, read the first paragraphs before the substance.
You know, but speaking of literary substance, this was me last year. You know, working by myself, which it happens when you start a website. This is this year. And, you know, you are doubling up on me with my wide receiver 2 theory now, almost at the 2G mark. Congratulations, brother. If you don't know Bo.
It's only week 7, baby.
I know. Like, listen, if you don't know Bo, I don't know what's wrong with you, honestly. I mean, I'm praying for your soul, you know, but you can get to know Bo a lot of different places. He's got Picante Hot Takes at Podcastic. He also has work at nimblewnumbers.com, and he also is writing for a news spot. Bo, throw your news spot out there too.
Yep, at Hammercast, I'm writing a weekly article about DFS stacks, and they're not the usual stacks that everybody's talking about. These are the surprisingly spicy stacks, or as I like to pronounce it, surprisingly spicy stacks.
And speaking of those stacks, you know, I don't have my hot box with me right now. It's up in the fridge, but hotboxbatch.com. Check it out. Get your merch. Get your yummy hot sauce. I got a case coming, Mike. I don't know about you, but I'm
making it fresh for you tomorrow. So while football's on in the background, I'm going to refrain from checking my live scoring for an hour or two to make your special batch of hot sauce, Scott. And so it'll be shipped on Monday morning.
Ooh, I can't wait. I got a question for both of you guys about how you DK. Here's how I DK. I set it and forget it by 1 o'clock, everything's in. And then I sit back and I red zone it. And then around 4:28, 4:29, I go, what's going on with my DK? And then I open up and I go, oh, fudge, like last week or a couple weeks ago, I went, I'm up a couple $100. Oh, I'm up a couple G's. Holy moly. So how do you guys do it? You monitor it like a fox? Do you put it away? Check it every half hour? What's your strategy?
I'm a very patient person, but I have no self-control. And so when I think about what you do and I look inward at myself and I think to myself, no, I can't do that. There's no fucking way. As I even think about what it would be like to do what you do, and it makes me nervous just thinking about it. I can't get my mind around it. Like, it just makes me nervous to think about not checking it until 4:20 something p.m. or my time 1:30 or no 4:30. What time do you check it? When the late games kick off?
After normally, honestly, my rule is to check it at halftime of the second games. So about 5:30. Well, how about this? I will do this because we're going to do a late game on Sunday. Yeah. I will check my fantasy teams. I will not check my DK from 1 o'clock I won't check until Monday morning. How about that? I won't even look. And Monday morning, I'll do a reveal. And
Do you want me to text you of what's going on?
No. Here's what I'll do, though. I will look at my fantasy team. And so this is how it all works with your players in general. You sow a lot of seeds. You're hoping a lot of those seeds are coagulating or, cohabitating in the same lineups. And then, you go back and you look at your fields. And so I'll have my own special teams in DFS. In fantasy leagues and Scott Fish. I'll look at all those. But I'm not going to be looking and checking like my $100 lineup or my Millie Maker lineup or my lineup with Mike. I won't just check. I won't check DK. I'll actually just not delete notifications, but just turn off notifications and not check it at all. If you want me to, I can do that. It's a challenge. The kids call it like a 24-hour challenge. Yeah, what do you think?
This is scary. I'm scared.
I'm doing it. I can do it. It's fine. You win or lose, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing I hate. Chase told me the other day he was up $20,000, and then somebody dropped a touchdown, and then he won like $3.
Gallup. It was Gallup.
Yeah, it was Gallup. Yeah, I know who it was.
So Gallup dropped the touchdown and also had 4 more end zone targets that Andy Dalton flopped over there like a flaccid, a bad. Yeah, it was like a cheap dildo flopping up there, and it's a fade route to a guy who's 5'11", and the coverage is just draped all over him. It's like, that's not the guy. It's like Gallup is your downfield burner.
What are you doing, bro?
He's your toe tap on the sidelines guy.
CeeDee Lamb, TDs, bro. It's in the
Dalton Schultz or Amari Cooper. They're all better route runners than Gallup. Gallup is so fast and quick and great balance and great hands, supposedly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
yeah, that drop hurt me in my soul.
Yeah. Well, it hurt.
I had Gallup everywhere too, of course.
It hurt Jason.
He's one of my guys.
In the pocketbooks. Well, we gotta get out of here. For Scott, for Bo, for Mike, you guys are all awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bo. Any last words?
Check us out. You know where to find us on Twitter. We're everywhere. We're like the wind.
Yeah. Mike is at the Ralph Macho on Twitter. Fantasy Millionaires, FF Millionaires, FantasyMillionaires.com. I mean, we're everywhere. Check us out on iTunes, on Google Play, on Apple Play, on D's Nuts, everything. Check us out.
D's Nuts.